So the first thing you want to do when starting a fire is open the flue. This is a fully closed position. That's fully open. That's halfway. You're starting to tighten it down. It also goes both ways. I usually just use one way. So closed, open. You can feel it close. Sometimes you gotta force it open. So put it all the way to open. You want to make sure there's water in there. Come open the door. It's okay for there to be a little bit of ash in there. You can use the shovel located here to kind of smooth it out. That amount looks good. Next, we'll put in some newspaper and kindling. The kindling and newspaper will be located in this box next to the wood. There's some newspaper down there. The wood's in there. We'll have some cardboard here or in the kitchen. Things to start the fire. You grab some sticks from outside or from the bin that will be probably over there.
Sticks are located on a few places on the porch.
That's the ashes bucket if we ever need to empty the ashes into a fire-safe container. You use a shovel to do so when this is full, but for now, that's good. So we'll start by laying our newspaper and then sticks. And you want to have the fire pushed back a little bit, but you need to be able to light it, so keep some paper out. After you've got the newspaper and sticks on top, it's time to put in the cardboard and kindling. You can see here I've laid the cardboard on top of the sticks and the kindling in a crisscross shape for stability as we stack wood on top of it. We only need a couple pieces of wood, so come over here and grab the driest wood, either from there or there'll be wood stacked up there. You need about 2 pieces.
I will make sure that wood is stacked inside. First, I'll pull from the pile on the porch, and when that is out, I will pull from the other pile and refill the pile on the porch. Kindling can be used out of these buckets, which is just scrap wood. Here's how you chop some kindling. I will mostly be doing this duty. However, if I'm not home or there needs to be more kindling, you can use the wood splitter here. I'm only using my feet because I had to hold the camera at the same time. Usually you want to use your hand to stabilize the wood, then use the back of the axe to split it over that blade. Be careful, that is sharp.
When you're just starting the fire, you want to get smaller pieces of wood. That one's kind of big, but it's what was available. You also want to make sure they're leaning back instead of forward. So if they fall that way into the stove. Next, you need to light it and maintain the airflow while the fire gets going. So we're going to keep the flue open for that. If you've built the fire right, it should light up just with like 1 or 2 points. We'll close the door and then close this one most of the way. Or you can leave them both open and shut. Shut in the front, open on the top. That way embers don't fly out, but there's enough airflow to start your fire. The newspaper will light the sticks and the cardboard, which will light the kindling and then light the wood. In order to ensure a safe temperature for the fire so there's no buildup of creosote in the chimney, which can create a fire, we need to make sure we're at an operating temperature inside of the burn zone. That's the one up top. The one down here will read hotter because that's the actual stove, while this is the chimney. This is the one we want to pay attention to, the one on top. You want that needle to be in between the burn zone, about 270 to 570 degrees. Just in the middle is fine, or towards the beginning of the burn zone is fine. You don't want to put so much wood that you're overheating it and causing it to go above 600 degrees. In the beginning of the fire, you kind of want to monitor it because it may or may not light, in which case cardboard is a really good accelerant. This one's a little bit slow going, but it should start. If you notice smoke starting to come out into the room, close the door a little bit. I opened the door to allow more air, so now it's really lighting. Maybe this wasn't enough air. So you gotta kind of monitor it first. Once you get the fire going, it's just as simple to adding logs. Once you reach the burn zone, which I'm not yet, you want to close this down to about halfway. That'll let the wood last longer, and also this fan will start spinning to disperse the heat across the room. When you're done with the fire for the night, you want to make sure this is all the way closed. But if you do have that closed and then open the door to put in more wood, smoke could come into the room. So if these doors were closed and you need to add more wood, make sure you open the flue first, then open the door and add more wood. There should be a lighter up on the mantle to start the fire, and everything you need should be here. Don't keep anything that can melt or be flammable anywhere on the hearth. That stuff up there is okay. That's a humidifier. This will be the bucket for sticks. Other fire starting materials, which will be over here. In the winter, it can get dry, and so this water in here evaporates and helps to maintain humidity. So it's important when that's getting low to refill that with water from the kitchen. The humidifier can also be used if we're extra dry. You just fill up this container and turn on the fan. If the fire is starting to go out, you may need to play with the airflow, allowing in more air. The beginning is the most fragile, and it's good to keep checking on it. Looks like this one's going to take off, but if I were to shut the door right now before the fire is up to temperature, it'll probably put the fire out. So we're going to want to leave the flue all the way open and then monitor the airflow while it gets started. If you hear a sizzling sound, that's the water cooking off. The wood's a little wet. We've got the 2 logs lit, but yet we're not at temperature. So we need to get this fire a little hotter. Now's a good time to add 2 more logs when those logs are lit. If you wait too long, the fire could go out. So let's add 2 more logs. Stack the next logs, you want to crisscross them. So you're always making this 4-way pattern with air flowing underneath and in between. I've still got the flue completely open so these logs can catch. And if you make a shorter area for the air to come in, you can kind of hear the suction effect sometimes, and that might help fan the fire. In this case, since those logs are big, we're going to leave a lot of airflow. Do you want to monitor, make sure embers don't fall out? And you can see the smoke going up the chimney and not into the room. That's good. If it were coming into the room, just close this down a little bit. Once you've reached the burn zone or higher, you can close the door. Let's just do one final check. Looks like it's going pretty good. So we can close the doors. This is how you lock it. It's unlock, open, close, unlock. That way it doesn't pop open. And you can dampen the flue. Should take about 30 minutes or so to reach that level. And as the day goes on, keep monitoring it. If it drops below the burn zone, you might need to let in more air and or put in more wood. Always remember, every time you open the door, you need to open the flue first and then open the door. That way smoke doesn't come into the house.
If we all work together throughout the winter, we can keep the fire going most or all of the day. It's okay if the fire goes out, we can always make a new one. Sometimes it'll restart when it's just embers, then you should have to add kindling and wood. If the fireplace is ever not in use, it's a good idea to close the flue and the doors. When the fire is fully going, it can make the living room and downstairs area pretty comfortable. Let's all stay warm this winter.